Now, although there is no formal extradition treaty with Canada, there is close cooperation between law enforcement. The result, one of China's most wanted economic fugitives has agreed to turn himself in. Jian fled to Canada in 2011. He's charged with corruption and abuse of power. A Chinese court ordered the seizure of more than $2 million in illegal funds. China has aggressively pursued economic fugitives who have fled China. At the UN General Assembly, world leaders and top diplomats trying to tackle Iran's post-sanction relationship with global powers and the crumbling ceasefire in Syria. CCTV's Nathan King is at the UN with more. Nathan, let's begin with Syria.
Yeah, the International Support Group for Syria meeting on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly. About 20 countries, all with an interest in what's happening in Syria. But the two in the room, of course, most important, the United States and Russia, really having a falling out over finger pointing of who's responsible for the breakdown in the ceasefire. The big question is, can it be salvaged? The fact that they're in the room is good, but will it make a difference on the ground? And talking on the ground, we're getting news reports from the Syrian official news agency that an offensive has started by the Syrian army in eastern rebel-held Aleppo. That does not necessarily bode well for the fact that a ceasefire talks are continuing here. So I have to wait and see, but it really is not looking good at this precise moment. And we've just heard from the Iranian President Hassan Rouhani holding a press conference, and there was one idea by US Secretary of State John Kerry to ground all planes in Syria, to stop anyone flying and potentially bombing as well, while there's some sort of pause in the fighting. The Iranians said that would only help the terrorists who are fighting the government of Bashar al-Assad, and so that seems like it's a non-starter going forward when you add it to the news that they're from Syria, that they are launching an offensive in Aleppo as well. Asiya.
Rouhani also addressed the UN General Assembly earlier. What did he have to say in that address?
Yeah, interesting, because remember, it was just a couple of years ago when he was here for the first time that the whole nuclear negotiations kind of started with that phone call between him and US President Barack Obama in the car on his way out of here to the airport. A couple of years later, we have that nuclear deal in place, and he was very quick to say, now that the sanctions have largely been lifted, international sanctions on Iran, that the Iranian economy is really bouncing back.
Only 8 months after the removal of the cruel nuclear-related sanctions, the economy of Iran, as the most secure and most profitable investment destination in the region, is showing clear improvement. Iran's economic growth rate surpassed 4% in the spring of 2016. The inflation rate dropped to single digits, and Iran has come close to pre-sanction levels of oil production and export.
Rouhani, though, also very much criticizing its regional rival, Saudi Arabia, accusing it of meddling in neighboring Yemen and, by inference, Syria as well. Also, not all good between the US and Iran. The Iranian president basically saying that the US had not lived up to its commitments under the nuclear deal and was still withholding money and also assets here in the United States that belong to Iran.
All right, CCTV's Nathan King, thank you.